Hey y'all, it's Dave and I'm back with another Bible review. I know it's been a while, been about 2 years since I've purchased a Schuyler. Two things, I've been eyeing Tuscany for a very long time. I wanted a very specific Bible if I was going to get a Tuscany. And this one is it. This is the New King James Striden, and I'll explain here in a little bit. But the second thing, I'm just in a new season and I need a fresh Bible. I'm not going to explain much more about that, but having a good Bible that will be fresh with a slightly unfamiliar typeface that I love and a brand new cover I haven't seen before is going to be a good thing for this season. But first, if you enjoy the music that plays underneath this video or any of my videos, it's all available for download at forloveoftheword.bandcamp.com. You can always visit my website, l.e.g.o, and it has links to my teaching, it has links to my book, and it has links to my music. And so again, all the music's available for download at the Bandcamp website, but I just released this last fall my most epic instrumental that's got extreme highs, extreme lows. I love the dynamics and I love the flow of it from song to song. It's called Transitions. It's available at Bandcamp, but you can also find it on iTunes and Spotify and wherever you're going to listen to music. Also, my book, Hearing Love, is still available on Amazon. It's a commentary on the first commandment to love the Lord with all of your heart, soul, mind, and strength by hearing Him. That's available in any format, ebook, paperback, or hardback. So you can check that out on Amazon. I'll be done talking about all that. You can just visit my website, davidleebrown.odoo.com, and it will have links to all the resources that are still available to the internet. So, Bible review time. Now, two Bibles that I love. Love. Schuyler Quintel, double column, just an amazing paragraph reader. I love the layout, the way that they've organized the footnotes and the cross-references are just amazing to me. Quintel's favorite Bible to read ever. The other one is the Preacher's Bible, or the handy size, or it was the Preacher's Bible first, and now it's called the handy size from Legacy Standard. And it's a single column, verse by verse, with margin space to write in. I've done lots of videos on both these Bibles, and for this one I love note-taking. I love teaching out of a format like this. And so what would it look like if these two Bibles came together and made the most perfect baby you've ever seen? Join forces and make the Bible Megazord. It's the Stridon. This thing is amazing. And so first, before I open it up, the Tuscany cover, this is my first one. I've been eyeing Tuscany for a long time. This Bible is just gorgeous. You can feel the porous because they didn't finish it, so this will patina over time. So I'm really excited to see how this breaks in and patinas as I use it, because this is going to be my daily driver for the foreseeable future. Because again, I'm just in a different season, so I needed a translation I haven't read all the way through that I trust and enjoy, and that would be the New King James for me. And I needed a typeface that I hadn't spent a whole lot of time in. Yes, I do have a Stridon in the 2020 New American Standard, and the reason I hadn't spent a lot of time in it is I like the Legacy Standard better than the 2020 New American Standard. And so I've been spending more time in the Steadfast Bibles these last couple years. But newest translation for me, meaning I haven't read all the way through this yet, so I'm less familiar with it, but I still love it and trust it. And a typeface in a format that I'm familiar with but haven't spent a lot of time in it, and then just the newness of the Tuscany. Everything about this Bible for me in this season is perfect. And so the Tuscany's amazing. It's a little bit stiffer than your normal Schuyler, but I really expect that to break in and not be an issue. I remember the first Calfskin in the antique marble brown that they came out with a few years ago was a little bit stiffer than the goat skin. And so the Calfskin, it is smoother, but again, since the Tuscany is not finished like some of the other ones, you can really feel the pores in this, which feels nice, and I know it's gonna look really cool. It's gonna patina and age very, very well. I love the color. A lot of the pictures I saw looked more yellow, and so I don't know if there's a color variation in these, since it's kind of a natural leather with a light dye on it, or just the lighting and the cameras that different people are using. But this one definitely has more of an orange hue, and I like that. So I think this is much more masculine than what I saw in pictures, but I was interested to see, since they don't make the British tan anymore, I was really interested to see how the Tuscany would turn out, and I'm really not disappointed. I love the color choice with this. I'm so glad it's not purple inside the liner. It's just a nice tasteful choices. Open it up, edge lined of course, brown leather liner with the art gilding, amazing stitching, amazing corners on this one. Especially since it's such a light color, the corners really stick out, and they did a wonderful job on the corner work for this one. The 3 brown ribbons, super tasteful, super perfect. So open it up, and the typeface reminds me a lot of the handy-sized Preacher's Bible. It's verse by verse. There are some subtle differences: bold red headings, chapters, book titles. You have all that, but you have this margin space that's perfect for taking notes. Now, I know a lot of people have talked about the 28 GSM being an issue for them. I have the original Schuyler brick that was like 1,000 GSM. I might be off by 19 or 20, but it was thick GSM. It's a big Bible. See, it's big, it's thick, it's a big honking boy. So I have that one. I have the one that was like a little bit less. I don't know what GSM this is, but it's still a little bit thicker before they went to the 28 GSM. Now, once they did that, I have more 28 GSM Schuyler's than I do the other ones, but I'm saying all that to say I have the old ones and I have the new ones. I actually prefer the 28 GSM. It feels more like Bible paper to me personally. It's very nice paper, and the 28 GSM marking in it, writing in it with microns has not been an issue. I've written all over 28 GSM Schuyler's, highlights, again, microns, no issue. And so I'm looking forward to the margins and being able to cross-reference, write notes. And it's so important. I really love the flow in the Preacher's Bible when I would prepare sermons, and I have my notebook that's sitting next to me, and then I have my Preacher's Bible. And so when I go into an exposition mode, because I'll go in and out of exposition if I'm preaching on a topic, so there might be a specific verse I'm zooming in on, or a section of verses. So it's so nice to have that margin on the side to even put sermon notes. So I have different Bibles with different sermon notes, and every time I write a sermon in a different notebook, I have to remind myself which Bible corresponds to that sermon so I can pull up the right notes in the flow. So I have my handwritten stuff, but when I go expositional, I have all the highlights and everything like going on down the margin, and it just flowed so seamlessly, and was just such a beautiful way I felt to write, and very practical, very useful, and really enjoyed it. So the Stridon is verse by verse, single column, like that handy size Bible. So I get all that use out of it. But as a reader, and this is why I say like it kind of made a baby with the Quintel, the way they've organized the footnotes and the cross references in the Stridon at the bottom are amazing, because the handy size Bible from Steadfast doesn't have any of that. They have editions that have footnotes and cross references, but not in the handy size. So the Stridon takes really what's good about the Quintel referencing system with all kind of the Schuyler bells and whistles on the typeface. So it looks really artistic, it flows really nice, and then puts it in a format. So that's why I say like this is just the best of both worlds. If you're going to have one Bible, especially if you're someone who either takes a lot of notes in the Bible or you teach from the Bible, I can't think of a better Bible edition to have as just your one-stop shop. Like your do everything very well Bible. Not do a lot of things kind of well, so you compromise on some stuff. I feel like the Stridon is just one of the most amazing, practical, most thought out, useful, flows well typeface. And I'm kind of shocked it hasn't caught on as much as I think it should have, but maybe that will change. And so for me, preaching out of the New American Standard, preaching out of the Legacy Standard, there's a couple different editions that have been useful to me, but my favorite, hands down favorite, has been the handy size. For New King James though, they don't have anything like that. And so the Stridon is just like this perfect best of both worlds. I can cuddle up on the couch with it, I can take notes with it, I can teach from it, and I'm not usually a fan of single column when there's so many words on the page and the lines are so long that it feels like it takes forever to read. That's why I usually drift towards double column. But what I like about the Stridon is to get that margin space, they've had to make the text a little bit narrower. So it's actually a very quick reader, even though it's verse by verse, and you can tell where the new paragraphs begin with the bold verse numbers, as with most verse by verses I've encountered. And so it's just a wonderful, wonderful typeface. And again, the 28 GSM has been a non-issue for me. I prefer, even though it's kind of cool to have these thicker Bibles, and I really like the brick. This was a pleasure to read through, and this is all yellowed out and highlighted. Some pages are like all yellow, and my wife's like, what's even the point of highlighting? I'm like, but it's all good. Anyway, so I love those, but I gotta say the 28 GSM is my favorite. I'd rather have a thinner Bible than those big old chunky Bibles, especially when you're looking at these full-size Bibles that are big. I mean, look at this next to my face, guys. I should do this way so you can see the line stamping on the cover. But yeah, my face next to this Bible's massive, because I'm really smart, so my head's huge. But anyway, the typeface is just, again, the most perfect, do everything Bible. If I had to get rid of everything and just have one Bible to do it all, this would be it. It would be a Striden. Pick your translation, but it would be a Striden. And for me, for what's available in the Stridon, New King James is my choice. Now, with it being New King James, it is red letter. And Schuyler does a really good red letter because the red is deep. It's not too like bright that it disappears off the page. Or the contrast is weird. I've read some Bibles, when it gets to the red letter, the red seems just so bright and thin that it's like such a big difference in reading, which the Schuyler red letter and the New King James Bibles are very nice. I prefer black letter, but if I'm going to have a red letter, Schuyler does it very, very well, and it just jumps right in the flow with their verse headings and all that stuff. And then in the back, they do have a concordance, their maps, and in between, they do have some lined notebook paper, which is nice if you need room for like bigger notes that don't fit in the margins. I like that they put the notebook paper in the back, but honestly, I've been so spoiled by the 32 GSM New American Standard Allen Readers with the double column line notebook paper, and the way they did the lines in those is just hands down the best. That's the edition that's been the most useful to actually use the notebook paper in the back. I'm not saying this is not useful, but the lines are so big and I would rather write smaller and I would rather have double column. Even Allen's gotten away from that. That's the only edition, that 32 GSM New American Standard Allen Reader, that's the only one I'm aware of that does the notebook paper like that. And so I've got a couple of those now just because that notebook paper in the back is so amazing. And I like thinner Bibles. So I know they do, Allen does 36 GSM in those, but that's another conversation and a video I've already done. So I'm not gonna belabor that no more. As I've been comparing this to the handy size, This is a much bigger Bible. This isn't Schuyler's range of full-size Bibles. And this handy size is exactly what it means. It's a handy size. See it next to my face and then my hand. But do just a little comparative look. This is the cowhide edition that they had bound in Youngblood when they first came out for the Legacy standard. But you can see it is a massive size difference. But it does come with a little bit smaller font when you look at both of these side by side. So the Schuyler Stridon is 10-point font. I think it's the Quintel's 11, Stridon's 10, and then goes down from there for the PSQ. I can't remember, there might be one PSQ that's 9 and one, the bigger PSQ, and then the other one, well, maybe 8.5 for the other one. I'm not going to get into that. And I think the handy size is at 8.5, if I'm not mistaken. So the handy size does have a little bit smaller font, where the Stridon is 10-point font. And so it's still a nice font to read. So there you go. There's the handy size from Steadfast and the Stridon next to each other. Now I'll show you this with a Quintel. I'm going to put this on the bottom because it's just a little bit bigger than the Quintel. You'll see it's a little bit wider and it's a little bit taller. I don't know if that's the... Yeah, the text block is just a tiny bit taller, and it's a tiny bit wider, and it's a tiny bit thicker. So maybe it'll show up on the camera, maybe it won't, but you'll notice a tiny bit of a size difference. Yeah, that one does feel smaller after handling this one a little bit, but it's not a huge difference. But this is, the Stridon is the bigger of the two. Now, the next thing I was wondering is the blind stamping. It looks cool by itself, and I was wondering how it would look in person, which I think they did an amazing job in person. The detail is very fine and not messy, nice and dark. But what I was wondering about is, how's that going to look in a stack of Schuyler Bibles that has the shiny stuff? Is it the foil stamping? I don't know what it's actually called, but the shiny stuff, how does that look in a stack of Schuyler Bibles that has shiny stuff on it? So, well, let's figure that out. When they're all stacked up, it doesn't seem out of place to me. Looks tasteful and still looks like a Schuyler Bible. I was wondering about that, and so I gotta say I'm pleasantly surprised, because I was expecting that to not go as good as it does. But it does great. Don't those three colors look amazing together? The antique marble brown with the Tuscany and the black pearl. Man, I think that's real nice. Ain't that so nice? The other thing I was wondering about, this is the last thing I kind of wanted to compare, is I love the old British tan from Schuyler. And I wanted to see what the Tuscany looked like, because they don't offer the British tan that I've seen. Again, I hadn't bought a Schuyler Bible in 2 years, so I don't know everything that they're doing anymore. I used to keep up with every single little thing, I remember when they were just a bookstore on the old website, and I was buying Cambridge Bibles from them and saved up for my first Allen, and then they published their first Schuyler Bible, and I jumped in when they did a King James, and I used to keep up with everything, especially since most of their experimenting went with the New American Standard, and so I got so many different New American Standards. This is the thin line that they did, and British Tan, and I've really loved this Bible. This is when they were thinking about going to 28 GSM, and this is just like the Quintel, except it doesn't have the concordance in the back, so it's a little bit thinner. But the color difference between the British Tan that I was used to and the Tuscany, I'm just showing you the different shades for your viewing wonderment, but they actually don't seem like they clash as much as I thought that they would clash. It actually looks kind of nice together. So that's real cool. British Tan with the Tuscany. How exciting. So anyway, that's the end of my Bible review. It's been so long and I haven't been filming regularly. I forgot how to end these. So I'm just going to say goodbye, and that's the end of the video. And thanks for watching. Maybe I'll film again. Maybe I won't. But if you miss me, go check out my website at l.e.g.o, where you can listen to hours of teaching, music, and read stuff, and the book and everything. So anyway, the links will be in the description. Also, if you wanted to know more about the Quintel and the handy size Bible that I didn't spend a whole lot of time on, then I'll link those videos in the description as well, so that you can get a feel for those Bibles and then the Striden. But again, I'm telling you, like, for just a one-stop shop to do everything, the Striden is it, and I can't imagine how it gets better than this. The Striden is just such an incredible typeface. So thank you, Schuyler, and it's good to be opening another Schuyler Bible, getting that Schuyler schmail, since I hadn't had that experience for almost 2 years now. I know, I went to order this and I looked at my last order and I was just like, why? How has it been that long? It didn't feel like it was that long, but I guess it was that long. So, sorry, Beth Rhodes and Sky. I'm back now. So, anyway, remember what I said when I said I forgot how to end these videos? I don't know what to do, so I'm just like flying my final flight pattern over and over, and I just need to just stop it and say bye. Thanks for watching.